Hello and welcome to Innovate Leader Series. Innovate Leader Series is a channel that is inspired by our vision as a Saint Leadership Group of creating a movement of leaders whose power of influence will far exceed the authority of their position. And we are sharing a lot of value-adding materials, experiences that we hope that has enabled you as a leader out there, as an aspiring leader out there, to actually understand that you can be able to influence beyond the authority of your position. So this episode is an exciting one because I'm introducing a new book that is upcoming. In the next couple of months, it will be out. And the book is actually called Engaged and Productive. So my name is Coach Gilbert. I'm the CEO of Ascent Leadership Group. And most importantly is I'm a leadership coach. And my specialization area is engagement and productivity. And actually this book speaks to the core of my heart because based on my personal experience as a leader in various organizations that I've worked with for a couple of years, around 15 years, and actually the experience that I've actually have as I've engaged with organizations as a leadership consultant and a coach has actually enabled me to pull in this book, and I hope that the case studies, the views, the experiences that I expressed in this book will be valuable for someone out there, a leader out there who is looking at improving the engagement and productivity levels of their teams. So the book itself is entitled Engaged and Productive, and it talks about the 5 mindsets that you as a leader, or you as an aspiring leader, or you as a new leader, or you as an experienced leader, 5 mind shifts that will enable you to build a highly engaged and productive team. And I know this term of engagement and productivity is a term that has been used in many instances. But sometimes, in most cases, you find that it's not used together. So engagement is viewed as a way of engaging people, a way of communicating, a way of connecting, which has a similar resemblance to what we actually are propagating in this book. But the aspect of productivity is more on performance, is more on improving the outcome, the output of the direct output of your team or your organization. And pulled in together is actually powerful because then it means that you're building a team that is highly engaged. There is a lot of connection, there's a lot of team synergy, there's a lot of focus within the team that then translates into the results that is out there. So I've actually pulled together through research and experiences from different leaders, different teams, and my personal experiences, 5 things that if we do as leaders or aspiring leaders or as new leaders, that we'll see some shift in the way your team is engaged, and eventually you'll start seeing the fruits and results of the of that engagement. And these are first shift is actually from authority to influence. And here I describe how many of us as leaders, we engage our teams from the aspect of positional authority. And that doesn't, the authority in us doesn't move away. As leaders, we are entrusted with authority for a reason. But that does not enable us to actually build a highly engaged team. And for us to start building a highly engaged team, then we have to learn how to shift that authority in a way that then drives influence and positive influence in the team. That's the only way that you can be able to start seeing some level of engagement. And I'll talk about it more in consecutive videos, especially in that aspect of authority to influence. The second mind shift is actually from ego to appreciative. There are many books around ego, and I think many articles have talked about why ego is the enemy, especially of leaders. And in this book, we try and dissect ego and bridge in some elements that can help you in terms of how do you manage your ego, how do you minimize your ego, how do you minimize the leadership bubble that is created as a result of your ego. And that's why we're talking about from ego to appreciative. When you start becoming appreciative when you start practicing appreciative leadership, and you start seeing some shift in that, and you start seeing how your team is engaged, and eventually you start seeing the results that you are looking at. The third mind shift is actually from communication to connection. And many of us as leaders communicate, we engage, we talk with our team in team meetings, but we are not connecting with them. We come in, we describe the vision, we say this is how we want to move. Sometimes we do some things for our team members, but we are not connecting with them. So these mind shifts, this mind shift of communication to connection, it's actually packaged to help you see how do you start building in some small behaviors, actions that will start build some connections with your team, that will translate into your team also becoming highly engaged, and eventually you start seeing the results of the connection. The fourth mind shift is actually from inferiority to cheerleading. And many of us as leaders in some other capacity, you find that we have inferiority complex, especially when we have team members that are actually stronger in character than ourselves. So instead of us building up their characters, instead of us pursuing more of their strengths and using them to actually drive team synergy and focus, we are actually condemning them. We are actually pushing these guys down, and eventually they either move out of us, or they actually become just timid. They actually become non-productive. So how then do we start shifting that? Is by actually becoming cheerleaders, picking out the best in people, expounding it, fanning the positive aspects in people, finding that 1% that you actually conquer and expanding it to 99%. And that's how you become the cheerleader, and you start seeing how your team is engaged, how your team performance eventually will start moving up. And the last mind shift is actually from apathy to inquisitive. And that's more or less like opposite of the other. Apathy is when you're not engaged yourself as a leader, when you're not interested in your team, when you don't care, when you don't navigate for them, when you don't have faith in them. Automatically, you have a way poorly engaged team. But when you start becoming curious, when you start becoming inquisitive, they start understanding people, you start understanding how they engage, what support they need from you, and something shifts in terms of the engagement level, and eventually you start seeing the results of what you're talking about. So this is just an overview. In consecutive episode, I'll be sharing each of these mindsets in detail, even as we come closer to the next few months when the book will be out. We'll be discussing some of these mind shifts individually for you to understand what are some of the things that you need to practice in each of the mind shifts, so that then you can be able to build that highly engaged and productive team that you want. Follow me, don't miss out on these episodes, but most importantly is follow me through LinkedIn and many other social media channels if you want to understand how you can grab your copy towards the end of the year when it's out. This is an exciting book you don't want to miss out. Thank you very much, and looking forward to engage with you more as I dissect all these mindsets individually. My name is Coach Gilbert, and thank you.